right. Welcome everyone. Thank you, Daniel, for Dina, for inviting me to come and talk a little bit. I come at this place every day, have coffee, and work here. So when I met your wife,
yeah,
and she talked about co-working space, and I talked a bit about also what I do. She said, let's give a little talk, and I said yes, because I love it. What I'm going to do today, though, anyway, I'm Hans Coman, who knows me or my work? Most? A little bit. Okay, that's good. I want to do, so I'm Hans Coman, I'm from Belgium. I've been traveling for the past 12 years to help people with their relationships, help people improve their relationships. And it's been mostly men, but also women and couples. And so today what I would like to do is I went through a big shift in the past year where I went way more from an artist who I saw myself as a seducing artist into way more of a coach, and I'm more attuned to the audience and to the people who ask for my help. And so what I would like to do today is a very short suggestion presentation of what I do, and then I would like it to be like an idea that simmers in your head, and like for the months to come, and that's all I want to attain. And then I would like to open the floor for questions, because I like to feed off questions. If you have specific questions about your relationships, about women, about men, you can ask me. If you have general questions, you can ask me. Las preguntas puedes preguntar en español también, pero yo me voy a hacer la presentación en inglés, porque es más fácil. Certainly for what I want to convey, I need English to express myself. All right, so here's the $1 million idea. Well, not yet. I'll ask you this. They did a study in Harvard. 75 years, they followed people. 55 años, they followed people, and they tried to determine what makes people happy and what makes people healthy. 75 years they followed them, asked questions, followed their health, tried to find the predictors. And there was one predictor way more important than any other predictor for your happiness and for your health. So I just said the number one predictor of your happiness and your health. What do you think would it be?
Relationships.
Huh? Relationships? Anyone else?
Yeah, love, friendships.
So we say happiness, but also health, like long living and being healthy. But it's true, it's relationships. Relationships are way more, quality relationships are way more important than anything else. And you can see for your happiness, that makes sense. But for your health, the people that live the longest have the best relationships. The people that are in the best health have the best relationships. And so the quality of your relationships really determines the quality of your life. And so, and by relationships we mean everything. The relationship with yourself, with your lovers, with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your family, your community. You know, it's very, very important. It's more important than anything else. And so the idea is that I want to give is that, you probably know this, but is that they're so important that it's really valuable for you to invest all the time you can, all the money you can, all the focus you can, all the energy you can in those relationships. You know, the people you meet, the people that work in the coffee shop where you're at, your family, your community. It's a great investment to invest in those relationships. It's a great investment in your own happiness and in your own health. Now the key is this, the $1 million idea is this. What does make a quality relationship? What is it that makes a relationship a quality relationship? And to me, I'll give a different answer than most people. To me, seduction is a key pivotal part of every thriving relationship. I'd say that at the heart of every relationship that fails, is a lack of seduction. And I use the word in a way that you go, what? Because I know that seduction has, certainly in the West, a very bad reputation. It has the reputation of manipulation, which means we try to get from the other what we covertly desire, what we really want, and we try to get them, so it's a tool. And it's also, we see it only as we need seduction from the moment we meet someone till the moment we're intimate. And we don't need it afterwards. And I go against those two ideas because to me seduction is way more and is a beautiful thing. I give always the comparison of a tango. You've ever seen a tango or bachata? Bachata. Salsa. Would you, if you see a tango or a bachata or salsa and they're great dancers, would you say it's seductive? Would you say it's seductive? Right, exactly. See how the Colombians in swing, yes! You know, it's that. Would you say it's manipulative? Que es una manipulación? No, it's not a manipulation. That is the seduction that I see. You know? And it's also, it's not just in the meeting someone and getting to know them and try to get interested, but it's in the whole relationship. In fact, to be able to dance with each other and know the roles in the dance is more important once you're in a relationship. Because most of the couples that I work with, their number one question is how do I keep the fire alive? How do we keep the passion alive? Because in our relationships, what we like, what we want, really want, is to have our partner as our best friend and a great lover. We want to be both, be able to look into each other's eyes and feel very close and feel very comfortable, and we want the passion to be there, the mystery, the excitement to be there. You know? And this is a big challenge in relationships because the powers that enhance your friendship, the ones that make you feel closer and more intimate and you get to know each other, they usually destroy also in the long run the passion. And the other way around. The powers that enhance your passion usually diminish the friendship. And it's very hard to make this work, but it's not impossible. In fact, I believe the relationship or a committed relationship is the best platform to do this. And the key to it is seduction. The key to it is to keep seducing each other. As if I give advice to men, it's keep seducing your wife. And then the challenge is like, how does that look in concrete in your situation? So for me, the seduction is not manipulating the other. For me, seduction is the art. It's art to make the other feel alive. When the other is in your presence, they enjoy themselves with you. When you can do that, when you can create a space, when you can make that happen for the other without necessarily taking the responsibility, but if you're that kind of man that you can do that, that's seduction. And so, I'll give a more poetic description in a second, but I'll say, for me, seduction is two things. Someone is seduced when, one, they feel seen, felt, and heard. Not hurt, but heard. Which means when you're with someone and you notice empathy across the table. That person wants to know you. They want to get to know you. They want to know your troubles. They want to walk your shoes. That's empathy across the table. When you have that feeling, oh, that person gets me. That's the first step of seduction. Is first and foremost this step. So seduction is always first telling what's going on in your world, meeting the other in their world, honoring the other in their world, understanding and honoring them for where they are at right now. And then the second step of seduction to me is to lead them into a different world. Lead them to something that they want to go, that you want to go, and that's higher. When you're caught up in something, they go, wow, this is great. You know? the feeling of, say, being in love or discovering something or hearing a song that really speaks to you, you know, that kind of feeling of being caught up in something bigger. That's the second step, and it's essential to seduction. It's like with a dance, a guy has to be tuned in. If he's the leader, the man, he has to be tuned into what the woman wants, where she wants to go, and then he has to guide them both to that place. So that's the two steps. Or like I told you, it's like a guy who's a good dancer, a good leader. In fact, a good leader, a good dancer, he can dance with anyone, even if she never danced. You know, she could be like, wow, she looks great, you know, because he leads it well. So it's like a guy holding up. You know this example. It's like a guy holding up the arm. You know, if he's leading, if the guy's leading, he's holding up his arm. He's creating a space, and the woman turns around or not. But if she turns around, you know, she's the one who's shining, who's the star. And he's the leader in that. That's seduction. So I'll give I wrote a whole book about it. This is my book.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think these roles, the male leading and the girl like taking, like following,
Surrendering, following,
yeah, do you think these roles are immutable? They cannot be changed? I think like maybe the girl was free and
Sure. Or two girls can dance, two guys can dance. The original tango was two men. No women, it was two men. So
but they still like play these roles like a lead role and then a follower.
yes, in a dance, if both lead, you have trouble.
Yeah.
If both wants to follow, you have trouble.
But you always have to have this dichotomy of one leading and the other following.
It's a division of role. Yeah. All right. I'm going to read. Are you guys okay? You guys okay? It's going to be over quickly. Don't worry. I'm going to read because I wrote a whole book about it. Like trying to understand what it is. Also trying to understand my role as in every relationship. My role in the land of women. It's called The Way of a Seducer, a code of honor to a lost art. And so it's a poetic meditation on my integrity, on my dignity. And I'll read one page from the introduction so you can place it, and I'll read one page which defines or describes seduction. Todo bien? All right. Seduction is of the essence. It appears to me that at the heart of every failing relationship lies a lack of seduction, and that our most severe frustrations come from a profound disenchantment, the feeling of not being able to seduce or be seduced. Our partnerships, our marriages, families, and communities start to crumble the moment we stop seducing each other, and yourself decays when you lose the aptitude to seduce or be seduced. Seduction is the most natural cure for pain, and a sublime manner in which to practice love. It is the human way to adapt to new surroundings, our last frontier, and a gateway to liberation. Seduction is the fastest track to spiritual enlightenment and your surest route to salvation. Seduction gives meaning, seduction breathes life. It is the most difficult and artistic achievement of every encounter because, more than making us happy or horny, it fills us with wonder. It allows us to marvel at this magical world. And yet, nearly always, seduction is articulated as a mere means to an end. Its exploration almost exclusively tries to answer the question, what works? We seem interested in seduction only as far as it provides us with the tools to take from the other what we covertly desire. But what works in seduction is not my main concern. What works is not the motif of this book. To me, seduction is a form of art, the highest one, beautiful in its own regard and to be explored and articulated for its own sake. I have devoted my life to it, and the compass with which I have undertaken the voyage across the vast seas of this divine art is not efficiency, but dignity. I do not try to figure out what works, I wonder what's right and what's beautiful. My main concern pertains to the right way for a man to seduce a woman, the noble way, the beautiful, artistic way. In seduction, nothing matters more than my dignity. Alas, there are no books on how to seduce with honor, and when I could not find a book I wanted to read, I decided to write it myself. So that's the introduction of the book, and then the book is a whole. I'll give it around. Check it. You can show it around. It's what I wanted with the book is a piece of seduction, meaning when you see it on the table, you want to pick it up. You want to, the fuck is this? You're either angry or you're like, you're intrigued, you're fascinated, and it's a piece of seduction. There are also paintings inside, and I'm obsessed with the fonts and with the whole feel of the book. So it's a piece of seduction, and also the writing is poetic. I didn't know what was going to come out. This came out. And it's a poetic exploration. Now I'll give you an example of when I describe seduction. This will be the last piece. These paintings are by Christine, the cousin of my father. Beautiful painters. On seduction, just to give you another idea, a right brain approach to what seduction is. Seduction is the poetry of the encounter, an attestation of your dreams and daily life. In a scientistic world devoid of ornament, where everything is simply laid out and presented in the name of truth, seduction sways and calls your name. It is a much craved counterweight that hints upon, invites, and leads you into a hidden world, a wondrous world, a world where the senses feed the imagination, facts are at the service of the story, and all protagonists play in the name of beauty. Is there anything more artistic than the seduction of a beautiful woman? There you go. That's my short, I don't know how long it was, maybe a bit longer than I planned, but this is my short introduction of trying to hint upon something that you may explore maybe for a time to come. Any questions right now?
I have one.
Yes.
You said seduction a lot, man. So I'm wondering, yeah, you also explain a lot about it, but you know, Picasso used to say that good artists copy, but great artists steal. You know, how can I learn this stuff from you? I mean, I suppose you have some teachings,
Right.
like practical teachings about it.
Right.
Can I steal what you know about seduction?
Can what?
Can I steal what you know about seduction?
Of course.
Can I like absorb all of that the knowledge that you have been gathering all of these years?
The way I learned, I met Zan, who you know, and Zan was already exploring this, and I recognized something in it, a love for women, you know, that I didn't have in the same way. And I remember I was teaching philosophy at the University of Brussels, and I was doing a PhD, and I had my whole career in front of me, and I was working with my heroes, Bruno Latour, Jean-Paul Van Benningen, Isabelle Stengel, the greatest philosophers to me of the 21st century. But when I met Zan, and I saw something different, and I said, I want to understand this, I want to learn this. And I left my academic career behind, and we started working together. At first he was my mentor, and then we were partners. And that is, so I gave up everything, and I started indoctrinating myself, you know, with what he knew and just being around. And that's one of the ways that you can learn it, which is the right brain approach, which is hang around your heroes, be with like-minded people, study historical examples. You know? That's the right brain. Read my book. You know, it's a very right brain, poetic approach to that, which is focused on identifying yourself as a seducer, for example. Then there's a left brain approach, which is a lot of men love this one a lot more, which is the step-by-step. And I take guys through like an 8-step program, because I see after 12 years that the issues they have are like I can boil them down to eight steps, and it's sequential. It's like a sticking point, they say, a sticking point, and then you find the key and go, okay, that's the next, and that's the next, and that's the next. But that's just, those are training tools, you know. It's never, you still have to do it yourself, and it still takes a lot of time, like anything, you know. Like
so it is an art. You have to practice, but it is also a skill, you know.
Yes.
You can master.
Yes.
You can improve, and you can learn from others. You know. You see paintings, and you can see what the artist is trying to explore, trying to express, and then you can steal from that artist and make your own painting. You know?
Make your own, because that's what the Japanese artists say, you know. Steal, 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 and at the end you find yourself. And it's incredible how there's a great video on YouTube of Picasso painting a bull, and it's a light screen and it's filmed from behind, and you see the whole process of where he goes there, and you see that he has so much skill because he can, like, figuratively, it's perfect, and he goes over it, and at the end it's almost like an abstract bull, and you go, that's not, you know, and that's him. Then he likes it, okay, now it's done. So, like, he's very skilled, but you wouldn't see it if you just saw the end product. And I don't know why we talked about it, but that was fascinating for me to see that. It's great. So yeah, you can learn it. I say always, there's steps. You can do a left brain approach, and then you add a right brain approach. And I always say to people too, adventure is a third approach to me. If you go, we were just talking about Africa, you know. If you, like, you could tell to guys, for example, how it is to be a girl. Like, girls get requested all the time. They have to say no. You know, with every girl, there are like 5 guys working on her, you know. And you say, okay, yeah, but you don't understand as a man what that is. You can't feel it until, for example, you go to Africa. You go to Africa, and when you go to Africa and you're white, you're the hot chick, for example. You go to a bar and all the girls want you, and it takes you 10 minutes to understand, fuck, this is what women go through every day, you know? And so you assimilate that knowledge that's in your body forever. That, for example, the trip to Africa changed me. So I always say adventure. You know? I have a right brain, a left brain approach, and adventure. You know, that will teach you so much. You know, one trip, it will teach you so much more than anything else.
I have more like an ethics question today. I would love to hear some talks from Leo about this, but
on the spot.
So since you can treat seduction as a skill, how would you measure your progress about it?
How would you measure progress?
Yeah.
If it's a skill?
Yeah.
In an ethical way.
What?
In an ethical way. In an ethical way.
In an ethical way, yeah. Because you can
go
go right away and ask something like the number of times you can lay, but that's not ethical to say, right?
When I work with guys,
Yeah.
I focus on results, which means what are victories to them, you know? And we agree on it because sometimes it's too far, but we agree on it, and then we try to reach it. I did a coaching client yesterday, and his goal was this: he's in Italy and he's in a new city, and his goal was by the end of the year. He's new. He's from America, New York, moved to Florence, and he says, we agreed, by the end of the year he has a social circle, and he has an invite from that social circle for his new year, for example. That's a clear example. You can, for me, for example, when I remember, I was once, there was a girl I really liked. She was from Madagascar. She was beautiful. I didn't know what I was doing. We were drinking rum. And this is months into like me, for the first, I'll tell you a little bit first. My history is this: I never had any problems with women. I never thought I had any problems with women. I always thought, but I certainly was not good with women, but I didn't. For me, it wasn't not an issue. And I had girlfriends, and I had beautiful girlfriends, because when I got to know a girl, they wanted more from me. That was my experience. Once I got close, they wanted more. And women told me this. I try to understand why it was, and they always spoke of my verticality, my integrity. Like, I would do something, I would please them, but only for my own reasons. I was never selling my soul to women. Anyway, so I had some success. I was not socially awkward. But a big moment of success was a great girl, fantastic girl that I thought, wow, this girl is probably out of my league. That's what I was thinking. She's out of my league. You know, when a lot of guys have, they're girls that are out of my league. And that evening, I remember us walking and I was like, whatever. And we passed the hotel and she said to me, I didn't even like know it, she said, you could go in here. We could go in here in the hotel. And I remember thinking from that moment on, that's amazing. I said, if I have a chance with this girl, no girl is out of my league. It doesn't mean I can have every girl, but I never see any more a girl and I say, oh no, I can't have a girl like that. Never. So that's a step. That's a good way of thinking, okay.
So your confidence improved a lot.
Yeah. Well, I was, in different areas. Or for some guys, it's being able to just hold themselves in front of a beautiful woman. When they're with a woman and they're not anxious anymore. I got a message today from Bogdan. He said, fuck. And I'm not afraid anymore. I was dating and I was giving and the anxiety is gone. It's a big step for some guys. So success is many different things. Success is many different
things. Do you think this newfound confidence translates to other areas of life?
Of course. I have never met a guy who's good with women, what I think is good with women, not just, he's attractive to women, but who's good with women, who knows how to deal with women, how to speak with women, how to be with women, and they like him. I've never met a guy who's good with women and sucks in the rest of his life. Every guy who's successful with women is successful in life. I have never seen another example. So, there may be other skills to learn or things to do, but he's trying to trick you into asking something.
Well, I have a question.
Yes, I have an answer. Would you like to go first?
I'll start. So I understand and appreciate that you're coming at this from your own personal perspective, which is obviously good. But I also still feel like that I'm a very passive figure in all of this, and that the role, again, you're coming from your own perspective, but that the woman has no role. The woman has no role in this process, that it's all about the men's action and the women's reception of that.
Right. Yeah, I speak a lot, I speak most, and I work most with men.
Absolutely.
And so, I've done talks also with women and also give advice, and it's way more delicate because, but you're not a woman, and this is true, So I do make more and more a stand for men, and I try to understand that role. But I have colleagues that work with women, and say the things that I would like to say also, but I can't really say because I'm not a woman. But yeah, there's a role for women to play in that, of course. If you want to know, I'll tell you my opinions. But yeah, there are great women out there also doing this work, and it's fantastic. Something else you want to know?
No, that answered my question.
Right. ¿Tú? ¿Ningún problema? ¿Preguntas?
Surely you don't have anything to say?
No, it's a very complicated. I think it's a. No, I don't have very clear thoughts to make a question. I think it's I'm skeptical about most things in life, so it's very. I keep questioning myself and trying to think of I try to look at it from a critical perspective, and without just buying anything. It's just a 10-minute talk. They just met each other. So yeah, I do have some concerns. I think it has to do with what Ben said. This separation of roles. I know you said that the roles might be switched,
Yes.
but you do suggest that there is
It's
at
dominant
least a
role
more
for men.
common or more adequate role for men and women to play. And yeah, I think this goes against a lot of things that
Yes.
I've heard in the past, and a lot of things that I've discussed in the past.
Right.
And yeah, that's it. I do think that being confident, being everything that you said about seduction, being nice to people, listening to them, trying to be, how did you say it? Compassionate, really getting to understand people. I think that's all great. But when it really gets to the practice, when it really gets to the kind of advice that it's giving, not by you because but by these people that I've heard giving advice like this, I just see some advice that might be a little,
Right.
yeah, that might make things a little mechanic. Guys learning a lot of memorized sentences and saying to all the girls, and this kind of things raise me some concerns. But yeah.
Yeah, I promise you that that I have a lot of politically incorrect things to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. But you know, my main concern is not necessarily, you know, this is what I learned. What I want is, that's why I suggested, you know, try on seduction, you know, try it on and see where it takes you. I'm not saying this is the truth, you know, but imagine you look through the eyes, you look at the world through the eyes of a seducer, you know, how different the world would look. And that's kind of what I want. I want people to come together like this and apply their work ethic, which they work 8 hours a day to make money, you know, and then they go home and tired and sit in front of the TV, go to sleep and do it again. To use at least part of that work ethic, the time, the energy, the money, and use it to your relationships. Because that's where your health and your happiness is going to come from. And then, once we have that, once we're sitting around and talk about this issue, we all have different experiences, we all have different views, you know. I'm a seducer, you know, but not many people identify with being a seducer. But we all can agree, I think, that quality relationships deserve more of the focus than that we're giving it today. Today we're thinking it's an afterthought. We're going to find the right person and we're going to be happy ever after. And that's not how it works. You know? We apply our work ethic for many things. Making money, what else do we do? Making money. You know, it's just learning other skills, and we don't do it with relationships. We get into marriages and we never have our parents tell us how to treat a woman, how to treat a man, how to overcome disagreement. You know, people think that a good relationship is no disagreement or minimal disagreement, and relationships are not defined by the absence of disagreement, but how you deal with disagreement. Can you fight gracefully? That's a good. So all these things, those are very, very important. And like how you discuss, and I come with my view in all this, that seduction is of the essence. That if you want to have a quality relationship, you better look at seduction as well, because otherwise you're going to end up at best as great friends who have lost the passion in your relationship. And I get a lot of questions like, "Wow, what happened? You know, what happened?" And so that's my angle. That's where I come from, and that's where I feel I can contribute to this discussion of relationships, which should be discussed way more often. You know? It's the number one thing that men don't understand women, women don't understand men, and it's just, and we're married to each other. But yes, with a little bit more pushing, I will tell you the more politically incorrect things also.
So it is that for me, the personality roles play, which is pretty important, because you have to well know yourself first and to be like alright with it. you were talking about the man ruling the girl, and that's how our society thinks that it should work. But what if you are a man who actually is not a leader?
Yes.
You can be it, and it's fine. I mean, there are some people which are more emotive than others, which are more logical than others, which are more guided by their instincts more than others. So you need to know what kind of type you are, and just to realize it and accept it. Not just because the society is telling you that you need to be a leader, you need to be aggressive, you need to be extroverted, you need to be like that. You have to be. No, you have to be just as you are, and that's it. And in the seduction manner, I don't know how is possible that you can approach to a girl and try to be like someone that you are not. I mean, if you are not extroverted, how can you go there and show yourself on a extroverted?
Yes.
Yeah.
But is it always have to be that there's only one person in the relationship who fills that role, or does it trade off? Because I would
Just one
think
role.
that this role of a seducer, because if it's always one person.
No, of course, you gotta seduce each other.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
It's a dance.
Of course.
It's a
You move
dance,
those-
right?
No, the
but
number
if
one
there's
thing-
always, I mean, if the partners are switching off and sometimes the follow leads and the leader follows, then that makes sense to me.
Of course.
But the implication that it's always one or the other.
I wasn't making that point at all.
No, and you just clarified it. And now I understand.
But yeah, like I say this to guys too. You know, when you it's like the dance. You invite the dance, and then the other dances with you or not. You know? But if the person is not dancing, there's no point.
Yeah, it's not
There's no point in like trying to, and that's what people think of seduction. She doesn't want to dance with me, and I'm going to try to have her dance with me. It's no, you know, you got to be willing. Hey, let's play, and that is a very important way of looking at it. The playing, you know, the playing. You got to be willing to play, you know, and play together. It's a fantastic thing.
I want you to go deeper in this idea of attraction that you brought in your book, the Swarpine method. That you say that you cannot create attraction, you can just uncover it
Yes.
or destroy it, and it sounds a lot like energy. You know, you
Like
can.
energy, yes,
yeah,
that's a
you
good
cannot
point.
create energy. You can just transform.
I look at attraction as a very natural thing. By that I mean, nature does it for us. You know, a man is attracted to women, and women are attracted to men, or whatever. You know, people are attracted to each other, and so nature takes care of that. We don't have to do it. You know? So seduction to me is not the art of creating attraction. You know, it's there, it's not there. Seduction is almost the art of not fucking up what's already there. You know? I'm attracted to you, you're attracted to me. Now let's play and do it well, dance well. You know, that's what it is. That I don't stumble and kick you. You know, that's seduction. Not doing that. So it's not this conniving kind of creating something out of thin air. You know? It's there. It's all around. And sometimes I see we're not attuned to it. We don't see it. Who's attracted to us and who we're attracted to. And then I see so many men, especially, fuck it up with girls. She already likes him, and he's like talking, and she's thinking, "Fuck, I liked him." Then he started talking. You know, and it's no, attraction is not ours to create. It's natural. It's a nature thing. Yes. Si quieres puedes en español.
Okay, perfect.
Pero para practicar tu inglés.
I could try.
Sí.
When I listened to you, I remember something I read on some review
Yes.
about show up.
About?
Show up.
Show up.
Show up.
Yeah.
Yes.
That word that you read means so much to me because day before someone told me you are afraid to say what you want,
Yes.
and this was so
Eye-opening.
I didn't know that people do see this so clearly.
Yes.
Um, that the day I'm after, I try to speak about the truth, about what I want. I think that it could be the core of seduction, about my authenticity, about what I want, but understanding what she wants and what she desires. Um, this is what I am practicing right now.
That's great, man.
Yeah, I think it could be characteristic about masculinity, but what do you see?
No, to me, that has very little to do with masculinity, but it is important. To me, the first step of seduction, in the first stage, like, I'll talk for guys, okay? I'll say it very short first. In a first stage, for me, seduction is always a practice in self-expression, which means we're not showing the world our authentic self, we're hiding it, we're looking at girls with sunglasses, whatever. We try to, and then, but the first step is expression of a practice in self-expression, which means you express your feeling, what you desire, what you want, what you don't like. You know, this is very important for men and for women. But then there's a next stage, you know, where to me seduction is a dance for two. And when it's no longer only about this, you're okay with this. You've expressed yourself enough that you now accept yourself, you love yourself enough, you know, that now you have something to give also. And now you can be in tune with the other and try to, now you have, this is okay, and you're like, okay, tell me. And so you start understanding the other, and now you're ready to dance with the other. So, but that is a hugely important first step for most of the men I meet. In stage zero for me of a seducer is this: men are like, I like that girl, I want that girl, because he thinks that she can give him something that he needs, you know. And so he's constantly thinking, does she like me? Does she like me? Does she like me? And so his focus is completely on her, but the intention is to take from her, because he thinks she will give me something that I need. So he's asking, does she like me? Then the guy goes into a stage of self-expression. He's like, okay, what do I want? What do I need? Who am I? You know, can I express this authentically? And so, and he's developing himself. And if some of that energy goes to seduction, he starts asking for the girl, not does she like me, but do I like her? You know, and the girl is almost secondary to this development. And a lot of guys go into this, and then it's like, the assholes are here, my way or the highway, fuck it, fuck. And it's an important step forward to say, what do I want? And so the focus is here now, and this guy I would call a seducer, because this guy will attract the girl that is good for him, and they will have great experiences together. But that's stage one, and there's another stage, and to me that's the highest one. And it's where a guy no longer asks, does she like me, or do I like her? But he asks, what can I do to make her shine? How can I contribute to this? What is my role in this dance that is the seduction? And that's for me the highest form. You know, when you're okay with yourself, and you love yourself, and you have the energy to look outwards again, because the focus is again on her. But the intention now is no longer to take or to share, but to give. And that's to me the mastery level, which I wish. Now, and you can go back and forth. I see myself, even in one interaction, go from the highest to the lowest, you know, and fuck. And it's a great analytical tool. Yes.
It's pretty cool what you say about giving, because there is the reciprocity, the reciprocity, that when you give something to another one, they feel that they have to give you something back. So it's pretty cool to give to the people, because you will return. And if you don't return, well, it's okay, because you just contribute to the other people. So in the act of seduction, if you are trying to seduce someone, you should not try, or that's what I feel. You should not try she to like you. You should try to like she. I don't know if I'm saying it well.
Well, the goal for me is this: that the other in my the other likes himself or herself in my presence.
Yeah.
That's the goal to me. And the giving is not like I will get back, or even the law of attraction, I will get back. For me, if I'm in a good place, the giving is a reward in itself. It makes me feel good about me. You know, it's a great reward. It's a great. You instantly feel good about yourself.
I like what you said about attraction, or whatever it was that is about that they feel good in my presence.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I fail miserably most of the time.
I think most of
An
them.
attempt must be made.
And this is a good win, man.
Huh?
This is a good win, you know, that she likes something from this
No,
stuff.
I've enjoyed this talk very much, but as a woman, it's just interesting to hear that perspective, and it's been useful as you've continued to explain to understand more clearly where you're coming from, and that's why I asked. I mean, that's why I appreciated your answer of like, I don't want to talk about these things with women because I'm not a woman, and I applaud that.
But do you feel good that she's talking about like giving good energy instead of like just chasing women around trying to get sex from them?
Do I
Because
feel good? Wait, what?
like he's talking about giving like good energy. Like he's not talking about taking from.
I know. I'm in agreement.
Yeah, yeah, but I wanna explore that thought, you know. It is nice to hear from women.
I want to know what you're unhappy with.
So what is your question? You always
The
have
whole
a-
conversation that is, you know, Hans is talking about seduction from an art perspective and
Yeah.
from a really good point of view, you know, like good, you know, when he talks about it, he makes you feel good about it, not bad or shady, you know. How do you feel about that? Like he's talking about making other people feel good about themselves.
I feel good about that.
Yeah, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I think
You
that
don't
it's,
you understand the questions?
no, I don't understand.
I think she.
Do you
no,
understand the questions?
Yeah, but she answered it.
She liked.
She loved that part.
Okay, good. I did answer it. Thank you.
I do have one question that I think is missing here in this conversation. And it is from men, you know, from the men's point of view, that is fear. How, you know, as men, I don't know why it is deeply rooted in our brain that we fear like walking up to a girl
Yes.
and just say hi. We have this incredible fear that the more beautiful she is, the more we feel that walking up to her. Why is it, and how can we overcome that?
There are many explanations for that. The best one I found for me, you can have historical. The best one is this. It comes from economics. Like I read this in economics and I applied it, and it made complete sense to me. I got to tell the women, guys are deadly afraid of coming up and talk to you. And women don't really understand it because
They
they
can't
never.
imagine how afraid we are.
They never live it. I work with women and I say, go and talk to that guy, and then they go, oh, then they get it. It's terrifying. And I can say to a lot of guys, hey, you shouldn't be afraid because you got nothing to lose but your ego. La, 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 la. But the fear is real.
It's here, man.
It's
And
the
the-
fear of rejection.
And I'll
right?
tell you, the pain is real. The pain is real because the rejection is real. The rejection and the feeling is real. We don't get killed, but it hurts. You know? Sometimes we prefer our hand to be cut off than to feel that rejection. But the reason why we don't do it, a good explanation, is economics, and it said this. If I have to think. If I say, fuck, I'm gonna mess this up. Heads or tails? If you, I forgot.
50% if you get a chance to win versus the.
Heads or tails, what do you choose? And if you get it right, I give. Oh no, okay. You give me a coin, and if you heads or tails, if you get it right, I give you 3 coins. If you get it wrong, I keep the coin. Would you do it?
Wait, if I get it right,
If you
give me
get it
3
right, I
coins?
give you 2 more coins.
Yeah?
Yes, I give you 2 more coins.
Okay, so
If you get it wrong, you give me the coin.
How many times can you do it?
But this is
You do
this
it.
is this is
You take the bet.
you should do it.
Yes, you should take
Yeah,
the
like
bet.
mathematically, you should do it.
Yeah.
But most of the people will not do it because, and this is where I see the parallel, because the fear of what might happen and the consequence of that, losing the thing, overrides any possible advantage that they might have in the future. So the fear of losing in that is bigger than the joy we get or of if we would win. It's the same with a woman. You know, the fear that we might get rejected overrides the possibility of being with this great woman, falling in love, having a great whatever. You know? And whereas that is much more possible in the sense that the worst that can happen with a woman is that she says no. That's the worst. But on the other hand, you have so many great things that could happen. But still we don't do it. Still we're afraid. Because of that fear, the fear of loss is bigger than the fear of, the connection with the possible joy or win. And that's a very basic animalistic reflex. Because animals, for example, if you're a rat, you know, and there's a shadow, you know, you instantly you go away because you don't want to take the risk. It might not be a bird or it might not be dangerous, but you're not going to take that risk. So you play it safe. And that's the same thing of playing it safe comes in when we like this girl, we'd like to go and talk to her, but we're not going to do it because.
I promise we have plenty of fear as well. It's very good.
Yes, sir. And
So how can you overcome that?
buy my book. Oh no, you got it. I got a free book online. It's called The Swerve by Method.
Yeah.
And it's, I'll say it very short. The Swerve by Method is this. When you guys think of approaching as this is the beautiful girl. Fuck, I gotta go talk to her. Oh, all the nerves, they go over, want to talk to the girl, you know, and they say, okay, what's your name and how,
Yeah, just like that.
and we're planning, I gotta say something else, I gotta be funny, I gotta tell a story, I gotta get her number, you know, and it creates this whole like stress situation of going down a dead-end street, you know, and there's so much pain at the end possible, and everybody's seeing me, so I'm not doing it. So I developed the Swerve by method, which is way less intrusive for the girl and way less stress on the guy, and it's way more, it's like a swerve, which means I would not go up to you, you're not looking at me, you know, but I would find a way to be, we're in the same space, and I would say something, wow, that's great, whatever, you know, great jacket, and then get out of there, you know. So I'm going in, I say something, I'm getting out of there, and this is more specific for guys, you know, as I'm getting out there, I gauge her interest, you know, it's like inviting her to dance, but not like standing there with my hand all the time.
Yeah, like
It's like-
requesting her really now.
Exactly. Do you want to dance? No? Okay. Do you want to dance? Yes. Okay. And then, you know, I go back in, you know, but I'm always on the way out, which means I leave the girl always a space to love it or leave it, you know, not this one. It's, fuck. She's thinking, how long is this going to take? He's thinking, fuck, I can't come up with the next thing. And it's awkward for both. But when you do that, there's no rejection, there's no, you still have to go. You know? It's not, you're not off the hook. But it's way less intrusive, annoying, awkward, you know? And it fits right with what I mean, which is, there's no such thing as like, she doesn't like me, I'm going to try to make her like me now. This is where guys fuck up. But I gauge, is this, because I feel attraction, are you attracted? No? Okay, I was wrong maybe. You sure? But that's the kind of like non-intrusive, trusting the nature of it, playing my role, which is showing up, which is inviting, and leave her space to like say, yeah, I like you, or not, you know, or say, hey, what are you doing here? That means she likes you. When she says it like this, she means she likes you. This is a big issue for the guys, you know, reading the signs of the women, because because she's also thinking, I like this guy, and he says, hey, whatever, coming off. No, she likes him. No, shit, I said that wrong. and so this whole kind of thing is very interesting to understand. That's the swear by. You will not. This is, I feel, is your role as a man, or is to show up and invite.
I want to tell you an example. The other night I was with Leo at this bar. I was with Leo at this bar. There was
Force you to talk.
He's my woman, can be my woman. So, there was this group of girls, just girls, like 5 of them. And there was this amazing blondie one. She was actually dancing on top of a chair. She was, in a chair like dancing, but it was rock music, so it was like great, because I think that was a Beatles song, something like that. I was looking at her and I was like, yeah, I like her. But it took me like 15 minutes to just, very good, talk to her, like, go. And what I did first was like, I went around, asked some friend of her, like something, I don't remember what I asked her. And then I went back again, but she was dancing in the chair. And I was like this, and like, hey, how are you doing? And I was like, I really wanted to just like grab her, but just like take her, but I was like, don't do that, that's way too crazy. We just talked a bit.
It could be right.
Yeah, we just talked a bit, but I asked her Instagram and we chat a bit, but it didn't feel natural. It was a lot of stress, for me, and I was like, I don't want to do this.
But you showed up.
Yeah, I showed up.
That's good.
It takes a lot of, for me, it took a lot of,
Well, yeah,
decision and
certainly
push.
if you're 15 minutes thinking about it,
Yeah.
Dancing on
That's
a
a
chair.
lot, man.
There is like a rule, the 3 seconds rule. Have you heard about it? That you have to take more than 3 seconds, otherwise you won't do it.
Yeah.
So
Well, he
it's
did.
just
That's, it's like with food. When it's on the floor, you got 3 seconds. You can still eat it. It's the same with talking to women. It's like, oh. And I'm, when I really like a woman, I so many times I'm like, walking out of my
You
life.
get paralyzed. That's what happens. You
No,
actually
no,
get
no,
paralyzed.
I
You don't anymore?
No, I don't get paralyzed.
Yeah, you do.
But I had women walk out of my life, and it's like, fuck, and it's incredible that we do that. We have, with Zan, we tell this story. We have all these, like I'm a Komen. My name is Komen, which means I have ancestors that are, my DNA goes all the way back to the Norsemen, And the Norsemen came from Scandinavia, and then went to Belgium and France, and then in the 14th century they went to Scotland. And so Clan Komen in the 14th century, they were the biggest clan in Scotland. And these guys fought, wars, with axes and kilts, no pants. And they went to battle. They went to battle, and they were ready to kill and die. These guys, and those guys, they made children, all the way to me, because I'm a Komen. So these guys they showed up and they were ready to kill and die, and yet they survived. The whole bloodline of the Komen goes all the way to me. So that's thousands of years of fighters and conquerors and guys who are like, I'm doing this shit, And then I'm thinking, I should not talk to the girl. Come on, I have to, And yes, the fear is there because it's normal. But the difference is not like whether you're afraid or not. The difference is you're gonna do it or not. The thing is to have the courage to do it. Like you showed up with the girl, you did it. The fear is always gonna be there.
I think that's a good sign, If you do feel like a little bit of
Exactly.
fear, then that's a good reason to go there and show up.
It means you like her.
Yeah.
That's nature giving you a sign. Hey, that's probably a good girl for you. You probably have beautiful babies.
No, but how old are you? How old are you?
How old
Yes.
am I? 25.
25.
Yeah.
Okay, because something that you say, I'm 32, right? So when I was in your age, I was kind of the same. Really, like, if you see one beautiful girl, you was like, okay, I need to talk with her. And now I realize after some years that maybe she's not for me, because maybe she's boring for me, right? So maybe she's beautiful, and then I just connect what you said before, and I realize it's like, okay, now I have to always convince myself she's for me also as well, because maybe she's not my type, and she's going to reject me because it's not connection at all.
Right.
And then I'm going to say, okay, it was a rejection, but it's not, because it's nothing common in between. And you feel like with your friends, you cannot be connected with all your friends, all the people that you met. There is people that you have a good connection, and there's people that you don't have it. And you cannot kill yourself because you have a good connection with somebody. That's why, for me, it's important maybe to make some questions. Is that there is nothing there? There's nothing there. And then,
So you touched it. Go ahead.
That's-
Leo wants to talk.
I think that's the thing that resonates the more from what you said. This knowing yourself, getting to understand what you like, what are the things that make sense for you, the things not the girl you want, but where you want to be, where you want to live, what do you want to eat and everything. I think that's huge. I have had different moments in my life where I have felt very good about myself, where I felt that I was going in the right way.
Exactly.
Before coming here, I was working for 2 years in an office, and I was eating shit. I wasn't feeling good, and the quality of the relationships that I had in these different moments of my life, that was huge. In the moments I was feeling good, I feel that I could bring something to the relationship. I feel that I could bring something to this person, and not only with girls, I think with friends, with all sort of relationships that I had. So yeah, I think that knowing yourself and getting to know what you want, I think that's the thing that resonates.
The Brazilians, I like what you said, and it's there's a word in Brazilian, and I use it as a guide to like know what it is that you want. Because it's a felt experience. It's not here. It's not, I think this. Because we see girls and say, oh, she's hot. And we think we want her. But then you figure out, no, it's just not what I want. I'm not saying hot girls is not, hot girls can be very good for you too. But it's a very felt, natural experience that will guide you. And the Brazilians call it, they have a word called tesão. Tesão. And tesão originally is erection, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard on. It's a hard on. It's like I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
Teach me Portuguese. It's not like oh I like this, but it's like you feel when something is right. Like you say, this is the right path for me. I'm eating well now. I'm traveling. I exercise. You can feel it. You know the moments in your life when you say, this is right, and there is no discussion. Your body knows that, and that's the greatest guide for you. We say tesão, and it's hard on for men, but it's also hard on, which means your heart knows this is the right place, this is the right move. Just a guy does my podcast, and he's 17, 18 now, and he's at university, and he was working to get money. And with Michael, we say, but you can work for us, he's just quitting work, and he just resigns right there, and it just feels like that kind of thing. When you're aligned with that and you act accordingly, you feel powerful. It's the same when you see a woman that you feel attracted to, and you act accordingly with your tesão. That's right. It feels right. And that to me is the greatest guide of like trying to understand who you are, what you want, what you need, what kind of girl is good for you, how you will lead, what relationship you want, what lifestyle, it's right in your body. It's not here, it's right here. Tesão. Thank you, Leo. All right, anyone else? If you want to find me, my name, Hans Komen, it's on the book. I do all kinds of coaching. Whenever you're ready, I'm not pushing anyone. Just look for me on Google, look for me on